everybody, and welcome to the post-game show here for the Red Sox against the Angels this afternoon. I thought I'd change it up here a little bit. Because the Red Sox won, I'll just wear my glasses. The losing streak is over, so we're going to mix it up here a little bit. Yes, 7-2 today against the Angels, a much better performance in game with everything in going the Red Sox way. I want to welcome Brendan in. I know many of you who know who I am. I am Nick. Brendan, how we doing tonight?
Well, Nick, the Red Sox put up 0 errors. Really is the big. No errors means a good defense backing up questionable pitching a little bit. I mean, Criswell, he went 4. It could have been a little better, but he's a fringe starter between AAA and the big league club. The bullpen held it down after him, and the offense looked phenomenal. Yoshida Abreu, he's starting to turn it around. The last few games this series, really, he has looked really well. And then Tristan Casas with the big bomb tonight was the highlight of the game.
Did you hear what he said after the game?
Yeah.
I kind of laughed at it, his little statement.
He was like comparing it to the Ted Williams shot. He
said the Ted Williams home run was a myth.
Yeah.
If any of you Red Sox fans want to take any of that, I think he's just joking around. But it was a nice bounce back game that was very much needed for a team that was searching for their identity once again with their home faithful at Fenway Park. Positivity, absolutely. You mentioned Abreu, couple hits right there. You mentioned, I don't know if you mentioned Yoshida, but Yoshida had a couple hits as well. Duran knocked in a run from David Hamilton with a sac fly. So fundamentally getting the job done, I would definitely give them that. David Hamilton did not have any errors today. Surprise, surprise. But I do have to say, Brendan, one of the players I do want to mention is Bobby Dalbec, still playing, still striking out, still has no hits on this season so far. Is it 0 for 14 now?
I think it's
9 strikeouts, 0 for 15.
It's been tough. It's been tough for the kid. The defense is good, but the bat is non-existent, and he's a power hitter, and he's struggling a lot.
He's a power hitter, really.
I mean, in Worcester, he looks phenomenal.
There you go.
Quadruple A. He can send it to the moon.
He can't put it together in the big stage. He just can't.
I think it's mental.
He could be. I would agree on that. I think a lot of it's in his head. I think a lot of it's mental. I think he knows that he's the revolving door between going from the big club back to Worcester again, and that's where he's going to go again because he doesn't belong in the major leagues. I'm sorry. He's done nothing to earn it. Nothing. I also want to mention, too, that the lineup's still coming in on a day-by-day, night-by-night basis. I really think the Portland Sea Dogs have more talent than the big club. I'm just going to put that out there right now. I got to tell you, after Duran, you can flip a coin right now on who you want to put in all these different spots. You really could. You got lucky, I guess, today with Abreu. You did. You got lucky with a couple slap and Judy hits from Yoshida. I got to tell you, Brendan, still, this doesn't do anything for me today. It doesn't. We won. Sure, I'm happy. That's great. But it doesn't move the needle for me whatsoever still. Abreu's not a number 2, number 3 hitter. He's not. And it's still so poorly constructed, this roster top to bottom.
No, yeah. The way I look at it, the analogy I have is someone treading water, barely getting by. And last night it looked like they were going under, and today they pulled themselves up a little bit. But you still you need to show me more at the end of the day. Yoshida Abreu needs to string up a solid stretch of 5 or 6 games where he gets a 5-game hit streak. Like, he needs to look good over a long stretch. Just a one stretch against the Los Angeles Angels, that doesn't really do anything for me. I need to see more from him, definitely, if I can ever take them seriously. Right now, they're waiting for Ref Snyder. I think when Ref Snyder comes back, Rafaela goes to shortstop, and then a lot better defense, a lot more consistency with the offense.
I think they're also waiting for Grissom too, but he'll be down there for at least 20 days to get himself into a rhythm because he didn't have a spring training. He just didn't. So you got to get him ready to rock and roll. We do have a little bit of time left before our typical 10 minutes wraps up. So I'm just going to ask you a couple questions. We'll talk about it with our time that we have. So with the roster and everything that's assembled, I have a couple questions, at least on some players that are on this roster. And I'm curious what your take is on seeing if these guys will make it through the season and actually be something of major league caliber. So the first one I want to mention is Wilyer Abreu. Do you think he lasts the season as a starting player there and ends up being something on this Red Sox team? For the
There,
first player up, Abreu.
this year is really
Hmm?
about finding out what he can be.
Yep.
Like he's gonna get the at bats this year. He'll be out there all year, and whether he turns into anything or not, we'll find out. I think it's a lot matchup wise right now for Abreu. And Cora likes to hide his matchups. If they're going up against like a lefty starting pitcher, I like Abreu a lot offensively. Defensively, a lot, which I hadn't seen early in the season. Definitely a couple in the beginning. I think Abreu is going to make the team at the end.
I don't think he's going to end up being much of anything. I don't. I've looked at him a little bit here. Lightning in a bottle, maybe, but I think this guy's a poor man's Daniel Nava.
All right.
I hate comparisons. I just do. But the only thing that just strikes me as something as a guy, I don't get the hype. I just don't see it with this guy. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. Jaron Duran, where do you think Duran ends up leading himself towards as this season progresses? Do you think that he'll put himself in contention to be maybe one of the better players in Major League Baseball? Floor
Right,
is yours.
right now, he's going on a tear. I mean, I know he didn't have a hit tonight, but over the last week, he has been slashing the ball very well. I like him a lot. It's all mental with Duran. I'm wondering if he will shift over to center field. That's what Merloni was talking about. When Rafaela goes to shortstop, Duran moves to center. Will that take away from his game? I don't know. But I think it's a reality that we have to look into. I think Duran is a big part of what they do. They need him offensively. He'll make it through the year. Will he maintain his spot? I assume so. If they didn't move on, if they the trigger was the Lesko deal. They didn't do the Lesko deal with the Padres.
Yep.
They definitely want to hold on to him. I think he'll be on the team for a while.
I want to see Duran succeed. I really do. I
Yeah.
think this guy has a lot of great potential, speed. I think the glove has some work to get done, of course. And again, this biggest flaw, at least in my eyes, is the mental side of the game. So if he's in a good state and he's
When he's
locked in
yeah.
and going, he can be a spark plug for your team, and he definitely is your table setter with getting on and getting things going. So I think that Duran is going to be the real deal. I
Yeah.
do. The next player I want to go with, we're going to go two more. I want to go Tristan Casas. What's your overlook with him? What's the season going to look like for him?
There's definitely a lot of bias when it comes to this kid. He doesn't hit for average as well, but he is very disciplined at the plate to his detriment at times. There are spots where it's outside the zone and he can still bomb it, but he's very disciplined around the zone and is willing to take the walks when he has the power to send it to the moon, even on a pitch out of the zone. I think he's legit. They just they have to work on the contract. I think when it comes to him.
The thing I look at with Tristan Casas is I don't know if we're actually going to see it here long term with the Red Sox. I don't know if he actually does really want to be here. That's the one thing. Like he keeps saying, "Oh yeah, it might be a little bit of a discount or something to stay here and whatnot." But I still look at some. I don't. I just look at him sometimes and say, if you invest in somebody that still has kind of yet to prove exactly what it's going to be over a long series of time, it might not be the best sort of thing. I want him to succeed, but I just don't know if that is going to be here in Boston or not. So
Yeah.
I know we're about to wrap up, but the last player I wanted to mention was Rafaela. What's Rafaela's ceiling?
You're hoping he's the utility defender that you need. The team starved in defense last year. This kid, I think it'll take some time between shortstop transitioning there. That's a totally different position, but I don't trust him more in the field than him. Like he's electric. He's here for the long term. They have to plan the at bats. What are we doing with the at bat? We got one out. We got someone on first. What does this at bat mean? Instead of just I'll hack at it.
For some reason, for me, I think Sedan Rafaela has the highest ceiling of all of the players that have just been mentioned here.
That's it.
I think that I think you can see a lot of great skill that this guy has for some untapped potential. So if there's anybody that's in that lineup that I feel can even turn it on and get to a whole nother level, I want to say it's Rafaela. I do. I think he's young enough where if you get him into a right rhythm and path, sky's the limit. So I'm highest probably on Rafaela, probably the lowest on Abreu. But
Okay,
who knows? We're not some of the experts. We're just the voices that call what we see at times.
definitely.
That is going to do it here for tonight's show. We hope everybody has a great rest of your night. The Red Sox will try and take the series tomorrow afternoon against the Angels. We'll break it down after that. We hope you all have a great rest of your night. Talk to you soon.
Have a good night, everyone.